Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
You should just do like
maybe. Yeah, sorry.
Just bring the recording device, you know.
No, I mean, yeah, that's but you could sit a little closer, because otherwise I have to. Okay, this is more comfortable. Okay, no problem. So we mentioned before that desires develop according to our association, and therefore it is so important to cultivate proper desires, and this is done in the association of proper persons, the devotees. And then verses 4 and 5 they give these rules. How do we associate with these persons? How do we properly associate with the devotees? Verse 4 describes these 6 types of flowing exchanges with devotees. And we spoke about this the last time. The first one, dadati, pratigrinati, offering gifts in charity and accepting charitable gifts. So basically, what is the best gift we can give to someone? This Krishna consciousness in the form, basically we do it in the form of giving the holy name. And another thing Prabhupada mentions is giving 50% of the income for spreading Krishna consciousness. So we should give gifts, but we should also accept gifts. It is not. Sometimes we think it is up to us. I have to give, but I don't have to accept, because we put ourselves still in the center. Let's say someone is giving a gift to us, but we look briefly and we see something I don't need actually, or I don't like, or it's a different color. It's not my favorite color. I would love to have it, but different shape, different design. But this is not proper way of thinking. A devotee, he wants to have a relationship with us, to have friendly relationship, and we should appreciate this. This is our duty to accept this gift. Are we going to use it or not, or we'll give it? I mean, well, it's not good to give away gifts also. Usually, it's not polite.
But if you have too much,
okay, yeah.
Something that you have to,
That's also a consideration. A Brahmana, he should live with very simple amount, very like basic necessities, basic facilities, but still he has to accept charity. That means if he accepts more than required, he should start giving to other Brahmanas, to other devotees. Of course, there are exceptions. Sometimes we should reject politely. One sannyasi was giving class once, and he explained how there was a Mataji from the temple, and every day he would do his service, and this Mataji every day would come and would offer him Mahaprasad from the deities. She was Pujari. And he said then, but I was prepared already from reading third canto of Bhagavatam. When a woman comes to approach you with service, that means for a brahmachari it's a danger. So he wanted to remain brahmachari. Then he said, I would graciously accept this Mahaprasam and I would distribute it to all other devotees without taking for myself. Otherwise, if you accept service, that means you have an obligation. Then you have to reciprocate somehow or other. The next item, revealing one's... Yeah, sure.
What if we are going to a medical practitioner and she's a woman? Does it mean if we pay for the service, then our obligations are done? Or is that an implication also?
It's very individual. Even if you pay, still, butter is butter and fire is fire. So usually it helps paying. It's even more dangerous if you don't. Anyway, I guess these are topics we can discuss. Yes.
About the medical practitioner, I was studying to become a medical practitioner, and a lot was taught about not developing a friendship with patients and things like that. So it's actually from the side of both sides, it's even unprofessional to do that.
Yeah.
So, I think as devotees we should be careful, because the reason that is because it's a very vulnerable situation when someone's, it's like a teacher-student, parent-child, doctor-patient. There's like a dependency there, so it's very easy for attachment to
grow up.
occur. So I think as devotees we should be careful to, if we can avoid maybe the opposite sex for doctors, because it's very easy to become dependent emotionally.
At least we should be conscious about this. And also we have a bad records already in ISKCON. Things are already happening, right? Yeah, for example. And others also.
They have very strict laws about it, but you can't legislate emotions so much. So even the karmis understand, that's what I'm saying.
That's why if we are more conscious then and more sincere, then usually what happens, Krishna gives indications, and there are these subtle alarms they start to act at one point in the mind, and if we decide to disregard them, then we're in trouble. So some people, of course, they don't even notice those. That's why I'm saying conscious, first be conscious, then Krishna conscious. Good points. So then, revealing the mind confidentially, inquiring confidentially. Usually what happens is that the experienced devotee, the devotee who has more realizations, he's the one who explains and guides the unexperienced devotee. So in this case of revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, this is the rule. The junior goes to the senior, and the senior devotee helps out. Of course, it may be the case that the senior devotee can help in one particular field, but then the junior can help him in different way, in another area that he has more experience. It happens, like you climb up a cliff. The system is that you climb, you reach a certain point, then the guy who is after you, he goes above, and then he helps you. And then they go like this in a chain. So it might be the case also. And giving and accepting prasadam. This is also very important. We have in Chaitanya Charitamrita, for example, so many nice stories about eating, not honoring prasadam. This is a great topic of Vaishnava and Brahminical culture. We should try to accept prasadam as much as possible, although it may be, when it's offered by devotees. Although it might not be, again, according to our particular taste, or we might have some healthy considerations, yes. But we should try as much as possible to reciprocate. And serving prasadam is also very important thing. If you noticed, when someone who is really trained and cultured, when he serves prasadam, then it's such a great lesson for you who take prasadam. If you notice how he does things, for example, he will come and he will offer you, let's say, seconds, and then you say, no, thank you. Then he understands what you mean. Are you just you just feel uncomfortable because, let's say, he's offering you sweets and you're a sannyasi, let's say, or you're not supposed to eat too much sweets, or you're not supposed to overeat, but actually you want, then he has his ways to make it happen. He will give you a little bit more, but it will be he'll make it like this, that actually he forces you. And you accept just because you don't want to offend him. He knows how to do this. And it doesn't look like you are greedy and you cannot control your senses. He won't do it in this way. Or also he knows when you really cannot take anymore and you say no. He knows that no, in this case, no means no. He won't talk anymore about this. But all these subtle things, serving prasadam, accepting prasadam, these are great topics of Vaishnava culture, shouldn't be disregarded. And we also mentioned that we shouldn't exchange this relationship and these loving exchanges with non-devotees. But this shouldn't be taken literally, because if we take it literally, that means we cannot preach, we cannot expand. Because what actually means preaching? In most cases, preaching means we actually exchange these types of love with non-devotees. For example, the preachers, they go out and distribute books. That means they give the book away as a gift many times, and then there is a gift, there is a donation. So it is already giving gift and accepting gift. And these people on the street, they are non-devotees. Of course, we also should think in this sense that everybody is a devotee. And they're not aware of this. They don't act in this capacity. So we should actually use all these 6 types of loving exchanges to preach Krishna consciousness to the non-devotees, without getting entangled too much with them. Of course, a Madhyama devotee, he can discriminate between those who are innocent and those who are demoniac. So he will avoid the demoniac, the envious. But we can say with the innocent public, we can actually try to make them devotees by using these 6. Sri Prabhupada gives example here in the purport. You noticed? What is the example? Inviting people to our temples, giving prasadam, and sometimes Prabhupada says, sometimes they will confidentially inquire about Krishna consciousness, and we will try to explain as much as possible. Yes, Prabhu?
And it can actually also be used to attract some of the envious people, like in the case of a family who is not really appreciative of Krishna consciousness, and you make them prasadam and you deal nicely with them, and then in due course of time they might be, considering that actually what you have is something that is desirable, so they will start to inquire.
Yeah. You mean the kid is devotee and the parents are not?
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember my
Bhakti Maharaj also, he told story how when he joined and then he came back home and then his mother tried to give him a hug and then he said, "No, I'm a brahmachari. I cannot touch a woman anymore." And then his mother was
My
hurt.
husband did that also when he was a brahmachari. Wouldn't let his mum hug him.
Who?
My husband,
Yeah.
when he was a brahmachari. And as soon as he got married, she was like,
No way. Yeah.
all the last years.
Somehow these kind of stories usually they don't happen in places like Russia or Ukraine,
This
or,
kind of
or do they
of course they
happen?
Yeah.
Because my impression was that people there are more natural, more emotional.
Maybe not that often, but it happens.
It happens every
Comes Krishna consciousness has to fight his attachments and he fights everything. Because it reminds of attachments, so he needs to fight it. It's not just step, you know. People has to get over it as soon as possible, but if they're stuck on it, it's a problem.
Usually the devotees they do get over this quite
Yeah.
quickly. Usually,
Normally it's first 1-2 years like that.
but it's kind of almost unavoidable. Yeah, like mistakes that we make. Usually, very difficult to avoid them.
Related a lot to the lack of training because in some places where they don't have a proper educational program, even devotees who have been 10 years
Senior
in
devotees.
Krishna consciousness,
Yeah.
or maybe even more, then they are saying, yeah, you shouldn't even, associate closely with your mother, your sister, and they use that.
And those people who normally who tell this, they're struggling with this attachment themselves. That's why they're telling it. So this is not like Siddhanta or absolute truth. It's just their own application. So and they present it like an absolute truth. But this is not true.
That's why I'm connecting it to lack of training.
Yeah.
My mother came to the temple when I was brahmachari to hear Bhakti Swami give class. And she sat on the floor. And my mother's like quite, she's a lawyer. She's a very refined lady. And his temple vice president, who was in charge of us, he got so angry with not getting her a chair that she shouldn't have to sit on the floor. So it was good to have that training.
Yeah, definitely. You always hear these stories. Deamrita Maharaj, when his mom and his aunt, I believe, they came first time to the temple, and then he, as a father brahmachari, he gave them, because he heard I have to preach now, so there was a special room for guests. So he made them sit in this room, and he was for quite some time. He gave them a class about brahmachari life, illicit sex. So, and then he said, then my mom at one point just, well, son, we are kind of too old for this already. They were like in their 60s at that time.
When Deamrita Maharaj's ex-girlfriend came to the temple, that's when he just ignored her. I mean, he saw that as positive because she was trying to come and get him. And he was in front of Prabhupada. And she came and tapped him on the shoulder. And he just looked at her, went back to Prabhupada, and ignored her. And she went away.
This is different. Okay. This is dealing with Maya. Okay. All right. So we should give valuable gifts. We should give gifts to the devotees, but we should try to give nice gifts. Not just because of we read in the book Upadeshamrita. We should exchange love with the devotees. We should give gifts, and then we choose the things that are not valuable for us. We don't need them, or even we want to get rid of those. So instead of just throwing them out to the garbage, we go to the brahmachari ashram and we give them to the brahmacharis to wear. As a brahmachari in ISKCON, you get often this big like these plastic bags with clothes. And they're not good clothes. Someone was wearing these for quite some time. And it is nice, this is good, it's according to scripture. But don't think that you'll get away with this. Don't think that the devotees won't notice. The devotees will appreciate, usually, if they're humble. They'll appreciate someone is trying to do something, he's giving donation. But it's not that they won't notice the quality of the things you're giving to them. They will. And what will happen as a result is that they won't actually be willing to have a deep relationship with you. They'll accept you as a formal friend, as a bandhu. There is this, in Sanskrit you have different words for friends. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the best friend, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Suhrid, this is the best kind of friend, very intimate friend. But you also have other kinds of friends. Official friend, formal friend, they are described there. So this will be the result if you try to do these things improperly. And there was one devotee, he would come to the temple only on Ekadashi, because he knew that if you give a gift on Ekadashi, then it has a great value. So sometimes he would just come. He was kind of rich person, and he would come to the temple with a van full of fruits, because in these years in my country there were kind of anyway, it's just there were hard times. There was no fruits, not so much. They were very expensive. So he would come and he would deliver all these fruits to the temple for the devotees, for the Sankirtan devotees especially. He knew these are the most dear to Krishna devotees, the preachers. And that was it. He would just give this on Ekadashi only, and then he'll disappear. We will not see him for quite some time.
Next 2 weeks.
Yeah. And finally this devotee disappeared completely. Now we don't see him at all. He's not a devotee anymore. Of course, this is temporary. He's still a devotee. He will join again in the future. We don't know when. The point is that we should give these gifts in proper consciousness. And we should actually know what is the goal of giving these gifts. The goal is to develop a relationship with the devotees, not just to gain something, material gain, profit. Not
check the box. No. Give gifts. Check.
Yeah. And you check and then there is a result. You want a result. Material result, not spiritual. Yeah. This is niyamagraha, example of following the rules just for the sake of the rules, not for the spiritual advancement. Scotta Maharaj was giving an example of the pigeons. You go and feed the pigeons in the square. And they're very happy, they eat the food, but as soon as you try to have some contact with them, close contact, then they run away, they fly away. He was saying that the Christianity is such kind of religion, pigeon religion. Just go to God and ask for something material, but then you don't want actually to have personal relationship with God. In most cases, because you don't know who God is. And the same in this case with the devotees. You use the devotees as media for attaining your material desires, but you don't actually want to have relationship with them. It's very offensive. Yes.
I'm just wondering, would that principle apply in the opposite case? Because I have seen sometimes that when newcomers are, coming for the Sunday feast, the devotees are very eager to preach to them, but when they are regular, coming around, then they're kind of ignored, I've seen devotees going away after some time because they don't feel appreciated. It's like, okay, they want to preach to me, and that kind of thing, but develop the relationship, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah, I understand very well.
That was quite frustrating for me, actually.
You are you are observing this as a devotee, temple devotee, or you are on the other side?
I was on both sides.
Both sides, yeah, usually it happens. Yeah, effective preaching is done when you have developed some relationship. Yeah.
Vaishya principle dominant in the present world.
Yeah.
Nothing personal, just business.
Yeah.
Nothing personal, just business.
It's like people are commodities, they are an asset for the temple, if we can preach to them and they will move into the temple, we're interested, but when they are actually coming around, then, it's not so interesting. It's a bit frustrating.
I guess there is just to have the balanced presentation. I guess there is also the other side of the story, that some devotees, they would come for 10, 15 years just for the Sunday feast, and they are not also inclined to be active, to really help the temple and develop relationship. So it might go both sides, but still, because in this situation the temple devotees are supposed to be the senior side of the relationship. In most cases, it is expected from them to make the first step and to try to work out the relationship, to make it dynamic.
And not to try to overbalance it again, but just not only for the temple devotees, but for all devotees, we should be educated in such a way that we would be able to motivate anybody, even if they have their selfish desires, we should be able to tell them how to connect that.
Yeah. This is the point Krishna makes in Gita. Shouldn't try to unsettle those who are too attached, but should try to engage them in karma yoga. That means in Krishna consciousness. Okay. So you move to the next verse if there is no further points you want to make. Text 5. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Here in this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami describes 3 types of adhikara, or bhakti. First, second, and third. So again, in the line of the previous verse, in the previous verse we learned how to exchange love with the devotees. Now in this verse, we learn further details how to associate with the devotees. That means how to respect them properly. We learn who is who among the devotees. There are different categories among the devotees. It is not like, I heard this from a friend of mine once. He was kind of in a bad mood, and he told me, all these things about seniors and juniors, you all learn this in the army, and there is no such thing. We all spirit souls, so there is no junior and senior. Because I was supposed to be his, of course, you can guess. I was supposed to be his senior. He was supposed to be my junior. And he came up with this philosophy. Which means actually that he puts himself in the position of the senior, because I have to listen to his philosophy. I have to accept it. So there is no senior and junior, but still, you have to do what I say. So I'm still senior. Yeah.
I have a question on this. It mentions here that the Kanishta Adhikari has received Harinam initiation.
Yeah.
And Madhyam has received spiritual initiation.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? First and second initiation?
He has received second initiation. Madhyam. And
But Prabhupada said that it's not all devotees that have to receive second initiation. If they don't have the brahminical qualities, it's better to just have first.
yeah. There are different.
Does that mean that they don't become Madhyams?
But there are different criteria for Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. This is just one way of looking at it. Now we will go through these different criteria. We will see. because Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama are defined not only here in Nectar of Instruction, but also in Nectar of Devotion and in Bhagavatam. There are different criteria. So we have full picture. Well, so as you mentioned, Kanishta, his qualification is that he has received Harinam initiation. And he chants Hare Krishna mantra. So according to Nectar of Devotion, Kanishta is someone who has weak faith, soft Kamala, Shraddha, weak, soft faith, and also a weak knowledge. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, Kanishta he does not know how to regard other devotees, how to deal with other devotees. And also, he doesn't know how to deal with the people in general. Therefore, usually Kanishtas, they shouldn't be encouraged to... new devotees, they shouldn't be encouraged so much to preach when a guest comes to the temple. Better the more experienced devotees to take this, how to receive them, how to preach to them, what to do. Better for the new devotees, it's better just to observe and to try to understand what is going on, try to get good education. Of course, it shouldn't mean that they shouldn't preach. But
the new devotees are really fired up to preach.
Especially when young girls come to the temple. And then you see that they'll go and preach. When some old lady comes, then nobody wants to preach to her. Maya keeps using the same trick. Why? Because it keeps working. It works every time.
So the Harinam initiation doesn't mean it cannot be taken as just instruction.
Yes. It
It
should be
instructed just before you get in Diksha, but you're instructed to
Here
say
it-
Hare Krishna and you take it up, then you can.
Here it is mentioned Harinam initiation. The Kanishta Adhikari is neophyte who has received the Harinam initiation from the spiritual master and is trying to chant the holy name of Krishna. That's what it says here.
I'm just trying to connect it to myself because I've been in the movement for over 10 years and I've never initiated.
You see, the process of initiation, as we mentioned before, is it's not just the yagya, the formal act, but it can happen before the yagya, during or after, or might not happen at all. So I guess you can take it in this way. One aspect. Madhyama, devotee. According to Nectar of Instruction, his qualifications are second initiation. He is initiated and fully engaged in devotional service. Here it says he has who has undergone spiritual initiation and is engaged in worshiping the deity. So this is a common point of controversy or misunderstanding sometimes. Yes.
It just says here, a person who is very faithfully engaged in the worship of the deity in the temple, but who does not know how to behave towards devotees or people in general is called a Prasita Bhakta Krishna Adhikari.
Where it says this? Oh, in the study guide. Okay. Yeah. Could be, but because we are taking here different definitions from different books. This is a definition from Nectar of Devotion. It is in the study guide of Nectar of Instruction, but the original is coming from Nectar of Devotion, from this definition. No, this is 11th canto of Bhagavatam. A person who is very faithfully engaged in the worship of the deity in the temple, but who does not know how to behave toward devotees or people in general, is called a Prakrita Bhakta or Kanishta Adhikari. This is 11th canto of Bhagavatam. So, faithfully engaged in the worship of the deity in the temple could mean that he is just observing the arati, this is also worship, or he's chanting the holy name. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's the head pujari of the temple. But it could also be the case, because these are just different categories given in the scripture for our mind, so that we don't become bewildered and we can use our little boxes to put everything inside them. But it's not that it's absolutely divided in this way and there is no overlap. There is always overlap.
Can we conclude that the essential is the mentality?
Exactly, yeah. Mentality. There are two criteria, very important. Faith, what? Okay. Two things, faith and knowledge. So Madhyama, his qualification according to Nectar of instruction, he has second initiation and is fully engaged in devotional service. According to Nectar of devotion, he has strong faith, but he has weak knowledge. Well, not really weak knowledge, but sometimes he will be defeated if he has a debate with a Mayavadi or atheist. Okay, I guess we should stop here because boys are becoming restless. Continue tomorrow. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.